yesterday's shiur, the Alter Rebbe emphasized the importance of davening, and particularly the davening of Shachris, the morning davening. In today's shiur, the shiur for the 5th day of Av, the Alter Rebbe gives specific and practical suggestions and urges a method of davening for all the Chassidim in their shuls. The Ata Hapam, we're on Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph, number at the bottom of the page is 394. The Ata Hapam, and now again, Hineni Yesif Sheinis Yodai, I extend my hand again. The Teisves Biur, to give further explanation. Ubakosha Kfula, and I repeat my request. Shtucha uperusha lifnei kol anshe shleimim, which is set out and laid out before all those who are members of our persuasion, of our congregations. Hakrevim v'harechekim, those that are near and those that are far. And the request is l'kayim aleihim, to take upon themselves shekol yemei hachel that during the week, those who lead the davening should not be people involved in business, because they don't have the time, and therefore they rush through the davening. Rak esam sheyesh lehem pnai, the ones who lead the davening should be the ones who have the time. Eham melamdim, either the teachers who are supported by the parents, or those who are supported by their own parents, it should be those who have the time, because they are either teachers or they're supported by their parents, so they have the ability to daven at greater leisure, and they can daven more slowly, so that the davening can extend to an hour and a half at least during the week. Mehem yihayered with mehateva. From among those people, you should choose someone to lead the davening, al pi hagero al pi ritzi harev, and they should be chosen either by drawing lots or by consent of the majority. V'hu yesif elav b'saviv lei, and he should gather, the one who's going to lead the davening, should gather around himself, kol hasmuchim al shulchan avihem, ein melamdim, all those who are supported by their parents, or those who are teachers, similar to himself, sheyuchlu laharich kamehu b'bal yishunen no v'no, so that they could all daven slowly along with him, and this should never be changed, should never deviate from it, with all forms of request and beseeching. B'Shabbos is v'yamim tevim, but on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, shegam kol bali asokim yesh lehem pnai, when even the businessmen have time, they're not in a hurry, because obviously they don't work on Shabbos or Yom Tov. V'shas hakesher, and it is for them an occasion, an opportunity. Laharich b'tfilosam b'kavanas libam v'nafsham laHashem, an opportunity for them to daven at length and to have the proper kavanah in their heart and in their soul. Then adarabbe aleihem mutal b'yeser seis v'yeser oz. Then not only is it an opportunity for them, but they have a greater obligation to daven slowly and to daven with kavanah, k'meishikosu b'shulchan aruch erechayim, as it says in the Shulchan Aruch, or k'meishikosu b'teiras Meisha, and as it says in the Torah. In the Chumash itself, sheishis yomim ta'aved v'yem ashvi Shabbos la'Hashem Elokecha, 6 days you should work, but the 7th day is holy for God. dafka kule la Hashem, that Shabbos, unlike Yom Tov, has to be completely for God. By Yom Tov it says partly for yourself, partly for God, but by Shabbos it says kule la Hashem. And although on Shabbos also there has to be partly for yourself, there's the meal of Shabbos and so on, but the Alter Rebbe is explaining it, translating the verse to be a continuation. Those who 6 days of the week work, for them Shabbos has to be completely godly. They have to devote themselves to davening on Shabbos more so than those who don't work during the week. Ulezeis gam heim yardu lefnei hateva b'Shabbos v'Yom Tov. Therefore, they, the businessmen, can lead the davening on Shabbos and Yom Tov as well as the others, and they too should be chosen al pi hageirol eberitzu harev k'meshikosav eshtak k'meshikosavti eshtakim. They too should be chosen either through choosing lots, throwing lots, or by the consent of the majority, as I wrote last year. And here the Alter Rebbe says that on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, when the businessmen have the time to daven more leisurely, that they too could lead the davening. Although he explained that for the businessmen to daven and spend more time in the davening on Shabbos is even more important than for the people who don't work all week. So it should be that they should have priority to lead the davening. It should be necessarily they who lead the davening. And yet Alter Rebbe is saying that they too could lead the davening. And that's because although they need to daven and ought to be davening at greater leisure, more so than the people who don't work all week, but the people who don't work all week are better prepared for the davening because they've been concentrating on godly things all week. Whereas the businessman has to make the transition from weekday affairs to the davening, so he may not be as prepared, so that in the end it kind of equals out. And that's why the Alter Rebbe says that they also can daven. It can be either one. Okay, gain do, and at this point, I need to make it known that I have the intention, God willing, to send to all the minyanim, to all the places where Chassidim daven, meraglim b'seiser, secret spies, leida ulahediya, to find out and to make known, to notify me, kol mi she'ef shalei, v'chol mi she'yesh le pnai lahadich, ula'ayim betfilah, all those who are capable and have the time of davening with greater concentration and for longer times, umis atzel, and yet they don't do it out of laziness. And yihye nidin b'richuk mokeim, and he will be judged in abstentia from a distance. Liyes nidche b'shtei yadayim b'vei lepei, to be rejected with both hands when he comes here, lishmeya develikim chayim, to hear Chassidus expounded, he will not be welcome here. And from the negative you can understand the positive, that those who do daven at length will be most welcome. And those who will follow this advice will have, for them it will be very pleasant, and they will be given the blessing of all good, and good means Torah. So they will be blessed with Torah. The Hayom Yom for the 5th day of Av, the Rebbe writes, Sur mirav aseh tov, bake sholem v'rod feil. The pasuk says, avoid evil and do good, pursue peace, seek peace and pursue it. So the Baal Shem Tov once explained this verse as follows. In every physical thing that is permissible, from the kosher things, every permissible thing has two parts, the good and the bad. the physical part of it is bad. The godly energy within it that gives life to the person, that's the good. In other words, in food or in relaxation and so on, there's the physical half, and that's not good, and then there's the godly half, which is what feeds and nourishes the person. That part is good. Therefore, a person has to use, when he's using a physical object, he has to avoid the bad part, sur meva, avoid the evil, which means that he shouldn't pursue the physical pleasure that one can have from the physical food or object. And instead, va'asei tev, do good. You should choose the goodness in the thing, which is the godly energy that gives life. Then seek peace and pursue it. The person who turns away from evil and does the good, who rejects the evil in the physical object and prefers the good in the physical object, he needs also to find ways of making peace between the physical and the godly.